Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to get started on the Shinkochhou Seihou SH Figuarts Kamen Zeronos Altair form. I've waited a long time for this, because let me start by saying this. This toy is fairly strong. Um, no man, I just really enjoy Zeronos and Zeronos' actor. I loved Dino. It was it was fun to say the least. And I had a great time watching it. So Zeronos sticks out to me because he's one of my favorite secondary writers. And I love the suit design. Um, Translating to a toy for the renewal is a little different. It had something I very much did not expect in its design, and I wish to talk about that. So let's get to it. Um, as you can see here, we look phenomenal. The color, the translation of the suit design. I think they did a good job of translating this suit design to the point where it's like, no matter how you're gonna look at this, it's gonna look really good. Even if you don't even know what this is, it's just gonna look dope as hell. Now, as far as in terms of mechanics, movements, and articulation, some things I'm like, I didn't understand, but I actually like it because I've sat down and played with it and enjoyed it. And other things is just because it's a preference. Like, there is going to be the floaty belt. I have it staying down now, but once it lifts up here on the waist, it gets very floaty, like to the point where it doesn't sit down naturally sometimes. So that's one thing, and it could just be mine or it could be others, but I'm speaking only from what I get here. Now, in terms of our articulation and how we move around, we can tilt left, tilt right, we can look up, we can tuck our helmet in to get that little extra oomph to look up with. Just in case you can't see it, we've tucked in the back of our helmet so you can have a little bit of extra room looking up. We can look down as well. Well, technically you can look straight ahead. When you ab crunch forward, this will allow you to look down. As far as the ab crunch goes, continuing that, we can tilt left and tilt right. I think Zeronos has a little bit stiffer of a time, and that's because, and listen, do not freak out, we can actually pop him apart here at the torso very easily. So you have to be careful with how you're going to toss this guy around. This is probably where the floaty belt comes in, because this waist area has its own kind of unique situation going on here. And sometimes I have some issues pressing him back in. I'm hoping on camera this is not one of those times, and it just may be. And yeah, it just may be one of those times. But I do want to talk about it because, again, this is something that if I'm going to have trouble with, you guys should know about, and hopefully you don't going forward. So I'm going to try to find that sweet spot so I can press him back in properly on camera. Yep, there we go. And you don't hear a pop. That's the part about it where you have to be very careful. Now, we have our weapons here stored on the sides, which you can actually do, which is very accurate to the show, and I really enjoy the fact that they did that. I like the fact that you can actually store the weapons on the side. And we're actually going to release them by, actually I'm going to take these off, right? By pushing up. You're going to push up because there are little tabs here. Let's change that focus. There's going to be little tabs here that you're going to align on that part. So this is for the handle of his weapon. The same can be said for the tip of the sword. You're going to gently shift upwards. And the same, there's going to be a small tab there. Now again, if you are scared and you don't wish to place that there, I would totally understand why. Now, another thing I wish to talk about is the fact that our arms rotate on a bicep swivel that is in there. But you would think it would hinder the arm. It's just like an optical illusion. It's not hindering anything at all. As you can see here, he can hit a T-pose, shift his arm down, we can shift around. There is inner bicep swivel here. It's not fake, it's just the design here doesn't show it on the outside. It actually rotates on the in. We actually have a little bit of forearm swivel as well to help with articulation. And we are double jointed. So we have a healthy room for movement here. And we have a nice forward ab crunch. I forgot to continue talking about that as I took the torso apart. But yeah, Zeronos can actually hit his boxing stance with no problem. As far as our legs go, we have a very nice leg articulation going forward. We have thigh swivel. And we can remove these just like Dino, so you guys who customize are going to have a great time. We have a nice double joint. We have super generous ankle pivot. And oh, wow. So we have a little bit of knee swivel as well. Didn't even realize that. So getting this guy into certain poses should not be an issue whatsoever. Like, look at this. If you like getting in Zeronos' boxing stance, you will have no issues whatsoever. We also have a very nice toe pivot as well. There's no die cast this time, so you're going to miss out. So no die cast. But this looks utterly beautiful. Outside of the floaty belt issue, I gotta honestly say, I don't really see too many issues with this. But then again, there's somebody who's gonna be probably far more critical than I am. So if you want to check out their video, go ahead, because there may be stuff I'm missing. I'm more of a, I see a suit design and I like it, as opposed to saying it's not completely suit accurate. I understand some gripes have to be given up for articulation in the figure, but some people don't want that. Some people want real action heroes level, and I ain't blaming them for that, especially for the money we have to pay sometimes. So this guy looks really good. Now what we're going to do is, I know you see his bike back there where my two itchy goes. We're going to talk about the accessories. So earlier you saw that I had the storage version of these devices. This is the smaller one. Here is our handle. Now the handle will come with two small parts attached to it. I actually took these out so we can talk about these. Let me put my hand in the way. Alright, this may be a little bit more difficult because they're so tiny. There we go. And these small parts actually come attached to here. The reason why that is because you will get an option of making either his broadsword or his crossbow, which you can make from these parts. Now, to make the sword, we are going to pop in the, here we go, the handle for the sword. Let me see, do I have this? I have this upside down. See, there I go tripping. Here is the downward part, and then we're going to attach the top part. And then we'll have tabs that line up that will allow you to create the weapon. So this is our broadsword. Then we can take this apart. We can actually attach the tab for the crossbow. Wait, did I do this right? Nope. Hold on. There's a tab that lines up. Sometimes I just don't do things right. Hold on. I may have forgotten something. Let's double check. No, it's supposed to line up. Maybe. Just maybe. No, it's supposed to line up. Hold on. Let's take a second to try to figure out what's going on. Oh, no wonder I had the wrong end. See? There I go, not paying attention. And then we attach the short version. And see, this is going to be the part that's going to scare some people because these small parts are so tiny. It even says on instructions, like, do not misplace. And even I'm having trouble, like, tabbing them in. So we have to be very, very careful here. Because I will lose small parts. I am known to lose my Gaia memories and all other tiny parts. Alright, now this one's not tabbing in. And I'm not sure why. But for the most part, we have our crossbow. And it sucks, too, because normally I'm very good at putting these together. And I've practiced a few times. I'm not sure why I'm not getting it now. I could be camera nervous again. We also have our henshin, our rider pass. This can actually go inside of the belt, in case you are curious. Slides right in and through. I actually slid it in a little too far. So let's put the right tab on. So there we go. It fits right inside. So we're going to leave that in. I personally would not leave that in as it can slip out very easily. So just be careful. So as far as hands go, our hand accessories, we have our weapon holding hands. we will have our trigger hands for the said crossbow of the weapon. Next up, we will have our holding hand. You'll get one right hand for holding your rider pass. You'll also get 2 relaxed hands. And then you'll get his pointing hand for his saying. Let me start by saying this. But yeah, I think that about covers a lot, if not most of it. I do want to point out that he can fit on his previous bike. He can actually fit on that. Let's actually do a quick photo. Let's put some hands on. Well, I said photo. Let's actually swap the hands, right? And then we're going to put him on the bike so you can see how he looks. Because it does look good for action photos, but standing there, he seems a little small on the bike. Which is crazy, because Deno seemed a little big for his bike. Which, I don't know how that happened, but we got here that way. So as you can see, he sits a little high. His bike just sits so high, to the point where if he leaned over, he just would look a little out of place. So that's why for action shots, he'd probably fit a little better. Because as you can see, his feet are not touching the floor. And even if we just like shut him down just a little bit, we'd have to get it at an angle. But like I said, for action shots, will look really good. Angles will look really good. Doing any dirt bike scenes will look really good. But it's just not something that I think standing up, unless he's leaning on it, is going to look terribly good. I don't really personally have an issue with it because I do mostly action shots, so it works out for me. But for those of you that are going to put it on display on your shelves, you may have something to consider. Now I'm going to clean up and we're going to get into the size comparisons. I'll see you guys in a sec. And now it's time for the size comparison. First things first, let's try Deno. This is the main rider and our secondary rider teaming up. And I think they look like a really good size. Deno actually looks a tad bit smaller than Zeronos, but only by a little bit. They do share the same body mold, but it looks like his upper torso just a tad bit longer, and his head from the top, because I have it tilted a little bit. So if we stand it straight up, it's probably just a tad bit bigger. But otherwise the same height. I like where that's going. Let's try some other domestics and other stuff. So here is Kuga. We could throw him in early because he's actually another SHF. So here's Kamen Rider Kuga. And then we have SHF Draconic Knight. And the reason why I'm using Saber is because Saber is actually bigger. Right? So actually move this guy in. As you can see, the Saber stuff has been absolutely much bigger than regular standard SHF stuff. So I can see that they're definitely moving in a larger scale line for these guys. Because Saber is just gigantic compared to other SHF. Next up, his Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Then we have a Lightning Collection Gold Ranger. And while they still can't stack up in terms of height with domestic stuff, I still think that they work pretty well in featuring with each other. They very much still complement each other. Because not everybody's the same height. So that different size of stuff actually gives you a little bit more emphasis if you're doing photography stuff. If not, have fun, do what you're going to do, put them on the shelf. Here's next to a G.I. Joe Flint. Here's next to a Mythic Legions Barbarian. And, oh, you know what? Here's an Articulated Icons Ninja. And then last but not least, here is a Mezco Me. So lots of options here that you can choose. Ninjas, putties, G.I. Joe stuff. It doesn't even matter. If you want to have fun with them, hopefully you will. I hope you enjoyed this Zeronos review, despite the fact that I stumbled across the weapon section. It really did stump me because I thought I had the right pieces. It turns out, actually, for this small part here, I'm actually missing one of the tabs. I'm not sure where mine went, and it seems like I've already misplaced an item. So that's why. So thank you for allowing me to stumble through that, and hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you as always, guys. I appreciate you guys coming through, watching the Kamen Rider stuff. As always, please, be good, do good, drink your water. Later.